How the sun became less fierce. One night, Aruna, the goddess of dawn and the mother of Surya, the sun god, woke up from her sleep, sweating and agitated. A voice had whispered to her that if she didn't take care, her son would leave her and wander away to some distant horizon. If that happened, the universe would forever be plunged in darkness. In the morning, Surya was feeling restless. He felt he must set out on a long journey. So he announced to his mother that he was going out for a ride through the sky. Aruna hid her fear. Instead, she flashed him with a broad smile and said, "Surya, my son, what a lovely idea! I think I will come with you. Would you like me to be your charioteer?" Surya was very fond of his mother. Besides, he knew she was very good with horses. So he agreed, even though he had been looking forward to riding on his own. Surya's chariot was drawn by 7 horses, each with gleaming coats like brownish red silk and adorned with tassels of gold. He climbed into the chariot and Aruna hoisted herself into the charioteer's seat. She flicked the whip and the horses began to trot. Soon they were galloping through the skies. As the wind rushed through his hair, Surya felt a tremendous sense of exhilaration. "Mother, I don't feel so restless anymore," he screamed, and Aruna smiled back, saying, I know. As they rode along, Aruna spotted a beautiful young girl in a garden full of flowers. She was singing and frolicking with her maids. Suddenly, Aruna had an idea. She steered the chariot close to the garden, and just as she hoped, she saw Surya and the girl look at each other. Surya was not very tall, but he had a body that was muscular and like burnished copper. When he smiled, its radiance melted even the hardest of hearts. Now he smiled at the girl, and she, enchanted by him, blushed shyly. "Who is that?" Surya asked aloud. "Sanjana," Aruna said. "Her father is Vishwakarma, the architect of gods." "What a beautiful girl," Surya said. "She will make someone a wonderful wife." Aruna stopped the chariot and asked him, "Would you like to marry her?" Thus, Surya and Sanjana's marriage was arranged. When the ceremony was over, Surya led his bride to his palace, and that was when their troubles began. Until then, they hadn't been together, and now, when Surya went to sit next to Sanjana, the heat of his radiance scorched her skin. It singed her flesh and burned her insides. Sanjana couldn't stand the heat and she fainted. When Sanjana was roused by her maids flaking water on her face, she began to weep. "I cannot stay with him. His radiance will burn me to ashes." Her maids helped her escape, and in her place she left Chaya or shade. Then, taking on the form of a mare, Sanjana fled into a dark forest. There she wandered, stricken with sorrow and guilt. She loved her husband, but if he came close to her, she knew she would die. When Surya discovered that his wife had left the palace, he went in search of her. Soon he found Sanjana, and unwilling to be separated from her, he changed himself into a stallion and went towards her. Sanjana was overjoyed to meet her husband in a form that was both pleasing and splendid. "We shall never be separated again," they said to each other. But both Aruna and Vishwakarma were worried. The universe was in darkness. How could there be life without Surya spreading his light? "What can we do?" Aruna asked. "Surya will not consent to take his original form if it displeases Sanjana, and poor Sanjana will be burnt to ashes even if he does." Vishwakarma thought for a while and said, "There is only one thing to be done. I will have to chisel away some of his brilliant rays so that Sanjana and he can live together as husband and wife." So Vishwakarma went to the forest in which Surya and Sanjana now lived and cut away 1/8 of Surya's rays. The fiery trimmings fell to the earth. Two of them became Vishnu's disk and Shiva's trident, and since Surya had lost some of his radiance, it was possible for Sanjana to live with him. So they took their real forms and went back to live in their palace.